This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the president and CEO of Alianza Minerals, Mr. Jason Weber. Jason, how goes you? How are you in these unprecedented times? I just saw the May contract for oil close at something like negative $37 a barrel. So first and foremost, how are you and your family doing? Everyone healthy?
Yeah, we're doing great. I think we're all getting used to working in the same household and the usual complications that come to sharing computers and office space. But it's working out. It's good family time. Worst case.
Excellent. Well, that's great to hear. Lots of good news. You know, we talked a bit off air, and I mentioned to you that there's two types of CEOs in this market right now. There's the type that are looking at this and going, how am I going to make it out of this quarter? And there's CEOs like yourself that are moving forward, and in this case, you know, doubling the potential drill program at your Horse Thief property in Nevada. Can't think of a better time to have a gold project in Nevada with the major partner funding it. Can we talk about the BLM approval you just secured and what that looks like moving forward, given the circumstances?
Yeah, I think, you know, the biggest thing for us right now is waiting for things to open up so we can get down and do the drill program. Our partner Hochschild is committed to doing it. They're very excited. You know, that the push to double the size of the program to 3,000 meters or approximately 10,000 feet, that comes from, you know, us together working with Hochschild, but they're fully behind that. So I think that speaks to really their excitement about the project and how it's developed. And so, you know, as we navigate the uncertainty in front of us here a bit, I can't help but look forward to the getting on the ground and doing the drill program.
Let's talk about how you're going to hone in on those targets, because I know 2019 was very successful in the sense that you got to do a lot of very important field work. And one of the really, I think, critical determinations that was made as a result of that work was the fact that the rocks that you have at Horse Thief, they correspond to the ages of rocks of other big deposits like Long Canyon. Can you speak to that for people that may be people like myself, frankly, that are not geologists, but have been around the space for a bit, understand what Long Canyon was, what it eventually turned into, and why you believe that you have something similar with Horse Thief?
Well, I think the important sort of piece to the puzzle is the age of the rocks and the fact that we were very fortunate to identify the Cambrian Ordovician boundary, and it's that those two ages or that age of rocks exists. That's the same age that Long Canyon is formed at, and it's around that time horizon that the Long Canyon deposits form. So for us to identify that, various means. One, identifying the carbonate stratigraphy, assigning it sort of ages, and then verifying that through fossil identification is really the approach we took. So we've got a good range on that. But I think what's more important is we're actually seeing similar types of geological characteristics that are seen and are part of the ore forming process at Long Canyon. So we feel, one, we're at the right age, but two, we have the same geological processes ongoing at that age that could form a big gold deposit. So that's really sort of what's been driving the excitement. And when you mentioned right off the top about honing in on the targets, that age boundary, that contact between the Cambrian and Ordovician age stratigraphy is going to, it plays a big role in where we spot our holes. It's to cut that just above it and then cut through that age horizon and deeper below to where these deposits could be sitting.
And deeper below is important because I understand the team believes that prior drilling was too shallow to actually test the contact, correct?
Absolutely. So, in the case of Long Canyon, there is, what we colloquially call smoke around these deposits, and there's a bit of gold there. There's some other pathfinder elements, and you get jasperoid developed, a lot of silica, and you see this sort of above or younger rocks above that time horizon. We see that at Horse Thief, and that's a lot of what was tested in the drilling back in the 80s, looking at that quote unquote smoke. Now, as we look to drill deeper and get down to the contact, that's where we think we'd be into the really the source of that smoke, and that's the exciting part of the shallow holes that were drilled. I can't identify, I could be wrong, but I can't identify a single hole that would have tested that age boundary.
So this expanded permit will allow you to drill, is it 3,000 meters now in 10 holes? And I believe that you have 5 primary targets. Is all that accurate?
Yeah, and so the original permit that we submitted, and this is before we had Hochschild as a partner, we just wanted to get a permit so that if we wanted to, we could go ahead and do a small drill program ourselves. So we permitted, I think, 4 of the 5 targets. With the amended permit now, we can drill all 5 targets, and we can drill a few more holes on a couple of them, especially the Horse Thief North and Horse Thief South targets.
Your partner stands to earn up to a 60% interest by funding expenditures of up to $5 million US over 5.5 years. Obviously, drilling this year is a major catalyst. What's the current market cap, Jason? I know you just raised some cash, so you're capitalized, but what's the market cap right now?
Oh, we're in Canadian dollars, about 6 million. So in US dollars, that's probably 3.5, 4 million. I don't know what the exchange rate is right now, but
yeah. So your market cap is less than what it would take for Hochschild to earn 60% into
Absolutely.
the Horse Thief project over 5.5 years, right?
Yep.
Interesting. I don't think that'll last. Can we talk about some of the other projects in the portfolio? I know one in particular that's of significance this year as well.
Well, yeah, there's a couple we just announced. I say just announced before the world changed for us. We announced a new deal with Coeur, and they're exploring our Tim project, which is about 12 kilometers north of their Silvertip mine, and that's a high-grade silver operation that they feel, and we tend to agree, is similar to what we're exploring for at Tim. So the idea there is that they'd be exploring for a potential satellite deposit to the Silvertip mine, and being so close, you could develop there and truck that over to the mill site at Silvertip. So that'll go this summer. It'd be a small program, mapping. Opening up some of the old trenches that date back to the 1980s and some early stage work, but that sets it up for drilling potentially in 2021. The other big project for us is our Haldane, which is another high-grade silver target in the Yukon, and that's in the Keno district, right adjacent to Alexco's Keno district project. So Alexco's in the final stages of getting a permit to start production on their property, and we're exploring for additional Keno-style deposits. Had a great campaign last year with a new discovery at the Pighorn zone that we'd be looking back to do some more drilling at this year as well.
Well, with gold at 1,700, and we know silver tends to follow the gold lead per se, you're in the right address with Nevada, you're in the right commodity, and you have a market cap that begs and screams for an opportunity if you're successful at either property. Anything else you'd like to add, Jason?
Well, I just think, you talked about it a little earlier, touched on the fact that time is now to be aggressive. I tend to think that the gold market is only going higher and that investor interest is going to increase significantly over the next weeks, months, and potentially years. So one of the tasks I've sort of saddled myself with is identifying new projects to bring into the fold. So I've worked pretty hard in the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks on that. I think I have one agreement in place for a new gold project. Nothing signed, but I think we've come to terms we can agree on that, and then and looking at 2 others as well at the moment. So I think our approach is to stock up now. We're in the business of finding projects that we can bring major companies into to explore, and that means I got to keep my pipeline stocked with new projects, and taking this opportunity right now to try and do that.
It's a good timing, Jason. I'm looking forward to having you back on to talk about those projects if that does indeed materialize. Thank you so much for your time today, and please be safe out there.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and you too.